This is the HauteSpot Network's microNVR, which is being battery powered for the purposes of using mobile live video streaming over 3G, 4G, or broadband localized on 802.11. This device right here is the microNVR. It's a microprocessor with a solid state hard disk with a capacity of 120 gigabytes. It has a dual core Atom processor. It has built-in 802.11 BGN. It runs on 12 volts DC, consumes approximately 8 watts when running. It has 2 gig Ethernet ports on the back. It has a sound in, a audio out. It has 2 USB ports, which we currently have occupied by devices. It has a HDMI port right here, and that HDMI port is for DVI or HDMI video out. It has an antenna port with an RPSMA type connector right here. It has a power port that's 12 volts DC input. On the front, it has a mini SD slot right here. It has a power switch. It has a COM port, which is a DB9 RS485. It has another 2 USB ports. We've attached to the USB ports one Verizon modem. This is a UML 290 from Pantech. It's an LTE EVDO modem, and that's attached to the port labeled D. We have a USB camera. This is a 2 megapixel 1080p resolution camera made by Logitech, and we're going to be running it at 704 by 480. That'll be the resolution, which is your D1 VGA resolution. This camera has a 6-foot cord, goes into the USB port on the bottom under D. On the front, we have USB port A, which is being fed with a GPS receiver. This is a GPS 353 from GlobalSat. It's a GlobalSat USB GPS receiver, and it plugs right into the front. You'll notice that we hot glued all the connections onto the front of the box. We didn't want anything coming out loose as they're being moved around. The next device is a lithium-ion battery. This is a 5.5 amp hour battery. It outputs 16 volts or 19 volts. However, it will run, and it's at the upper level of what the microNVR is capable of running at. So 16 volts set on this device will feed here. There's a small switch on the top right here, which again we hot glued into the 16 volt position. You'll see that there's 3 connectors on the top. One is a power input connector, and they're labeled in 19 volts, 16 volts, out, and USB. Out and USB are power voltages out. In is where you're going to attach a charging battery. We're going to provide a power supply, this Radio Shack power supply, which is again hot glued into the position of 16 volts. That'll charge the Lenmar battery in about an hour and a half. The charging connector will go into the power port marked in, and you simply put it into the wall. The power going out will go into this connector, which is going into the microNVR. So you just put it into there, and that's the only connector that we are not hot gluing. And you can see as soon as I plugged it in, the indicator light, the power indicator light on the microNVR is now powered up. So the unit is running, and you can see that I have disk I/O to the SSD going on right now. So if I want to charge, I go to the input. If I want to run the unit, I put it in the output. Do not run the unit while you're charging it. the transformer doesn't have sufficient capacity to both charge the battery and run the unit at the same time. If you want to run the unit wired to power, we're providing you another power supply that has a connector right here that can go right into the wire that we have going into the battery. So you can run the microNVR directly off of wall power, or you can use this transformer to charge the battery. The battery should run the unit for about 3.5 to 4 hours on a charge. These batteries are available at Radio Shack. They're a Lenmar laptop battery. We're going to provide them for the applications that we're going to be demoing. We're also going to provide another USB to micro USB adapter. This is so if you want to use the microNVR with a mouse and keyboard, you just simply plug a mouse and keyboard controller into this, plug it into this, and then you can control the device locally. We're going to now show you what's going on with the unit. You can see right now it's wireless. Normal operating condition is for the USB dongle. For Verizon to blink blue, you'll see the light blink here in a second. And that blue light indicates that the modem is on the network and running. As soon as the system fully boots and the server software is running and recording, you'll see the light, a blue light on the camera go on. And once that happens, then you know that the camera is recording. The microNVR is then going to do transcoding, and it'll send the video as well as record it locally to its internal storage. And in a few seconds, we should see the light coming up. And there you can see blue lights are running on the microNVR, on the camera right there. If you were to plug a monitor into the microNVR, you would see a console. And the console indicates that the server is running and how many frames per second it's sending, what the bit rate is. And this is basically a Windows 7 operating system running on the microNVR. It's attached using the 3G, 4G modem from Verizon. It's using the Verizon network drivers. And then we have everything persistent and set to boot and launch on command. Remotely, what's happening, and this computer right here is a wireless laptop. It's connected via Wi-Fi to the internet, and the microNVR is sending video up over the internet to our server in the cloud, and I can access the video from the camera simply by picking microNVR 1, which happens to be the microNVR that we're using. And there's the camera, the video from the camera. I'm going to pick it up and move it around over here so you can see it. And that is, let's get it to come back here. And it should, there we go. And that's a picture of me holding the camera, looking at the computer. So there's the picture of the live image looking at the live image. So you can kind of see what we're doing. Now the video can be viewed through this web browser. And this just happens to be, I'm using Firefox or a version of Firefox for Linux or for Windows. And I can change the resolution from high resolution to medium resolution to low resolution. And it'll change the image size. And basically I'm playing what they call a motion JPEG push view for this. In other words, my web server is sending the video back over the network. I have another way to view the video. This is a resizable motion JPEG. Same general image. You can see I'll move my hand around. There you go. So you get a couple of seconds of latency, but it's pretty good. The other way I can look at the image is I can go back and I can go to Silverlight, which is Microsoft's streaming application, and that'll give me, now this takes a few seconds to load, and excuse my my overhead light. You see my reflection in the light there. Now this is Microsoft Silverlight as displayed in a web browser. You can see the camera. I'm going to pick it up, and you know, it's dark. I turned off the lights in order to reduce the back glare, but you can see what I'm showing you here of the imagery and how the system is functioning. Silverlight is good for Windows, but it's not probably the best method for streaming the video. The other method that we have is QuickTime, and we're going to go right back to the QuickTime display. And this is a QuickTime movie playing in Internet Explorer 9. And again, you can see the video. That's at high resolution. I'll put it in highest resolution, and that'll give me the best possible image given the bandwidth that I have available. And it's negotiating, and it's buffering, and here we go. It should come up in a second. And there's the video image, and you can see I can resize it, make it nice and large, and it looks pretty decent. Okay. Now, the other option that I have for playing the video is using just standard RTSP, which is available through VideoLAN, and that's another application. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. I'm going to close Explorer so I'm not streaming more than I need to. And I'm going to close Firefox. And we're just going to go ahead and open an RTSP stream, again from the camera. You can't read it, but there's a URL that is just basically pointing at the media player that, or at the server that we have in the cloud. And it's connecting right now. It's going to buffer up, and then it's going to start streaming me the video from the server, which is acting as a proxy for the camera that's out in the microNVR. And there's our video there. This is probably the highest quality video that we're going to get, and you can see that the resolution is pretty good. The latency is low. The video quality is decent. Color levels are good given low light. You can see, you can read everything and see what's going on looking around our office here. And so that is how we're going to serve the video. You can incorporate the video into virtually any application through using RTSP or any of these other streaming methods. Now, I'm actually remotely logged into our server, and I'm watching the connections go up and down here for our server in the cloud. I'm actually able to see that the microNVR is logged in to a VPN server, and I can measure the system health of the microNVR. I can see what services are running, you know, how long it's been up or down, you know, what the history is for performance, and you can see we've turned it on and off throughout the day. But there's quite a few graphs that we can watch. And more importantly, if I create a VPN connection myself to our cloud, and that's all I'm doing here is I'm logging into our VPN system. And once I get connected to the cloud, and it indicates that I've got an IP address down there from our VPN, then I can minimize this, and I can actually go and create a remote, oops, you know what, I forgot to figure out what the, so it's 10.8.0.2 is the address of the microNVR that's running right now. So what I'm going to do is open a remote connection to 10.8.0.2, and now with the password user hotspot and the password hotspot, I'm able to remotely connect to the microNVR that's running And I'll get a desktop here in just a second. And it'll tell me that I'm connected. And it'll show me the server's running. And I can control the desktop. I can turn it up, turn it down. I can see how fast it's running. And basically, I can fully control the system remotely over the VPN channel. To package the whole system up for mobile use, I'm going to disconnect our monitor. This actually goes around like this, so that A is lined up with A. That would probably make good sense, wouldn't it? So I'm going to line up the microNVR onto the computer, or onto the battery like this. I'm going to Velcro down the USB dongle that's going to my GPS device. I'm going to Velcro down my power connector right here so that it's just Velcroed down and it's not going anywhere. Everything just kind of Velcros down here. I'm going to take my dongle for the Verizon 3G, and I'm going to Velcro it down right there. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to allow the Velcro to hold the unit right there, and I just tuck this right in here. Now I've got it packaged and ready to go. And then I just stick it inside the little pouch that we've provided. There's some foam padding just to protect it. And I'll seal it up, get all the cables in, with the exception of the cable that goes to my camera, like that. And then the camera can either be Velcroed onto your uniform, onto a badge, put onto the helmet. We provided a little strap. There's all sorts of things you can do for mounting it. But basically, that system right there will run the unit for approximately 3.5 hours. And that's what the entire kit looks like when it's sealed up. Packed up, you can put it onto your web belt, wear it wherever. Weighs about 3 pounds. And you can put the camera wherever you want and be able to roam with the video from the unit. Don't worry about the unit getting warm. That's normal. The case is a heat sink for the microNVR, so hot operation is expected. And make sure that you charge it. When you're done recording, it would be a good idea to safely power it down using the power button, not just pulling power from it. So while it's okay to attach the power cord to the battery to power it up, and it will automatically power up on power application, you should use the power switch to turn it off and let it safely go down where the green lights are off before you disconnect it from the battery and charge the battery.